seeing this everywhere at the minute. You're absorbing fear of places in the world that isn't yours to begin with. I saw a post earlier this morning from someone from the States asking in a travel group that I'm a part of whether it is safe to visit London and Paris. So they're wanting to go and have a trip to Europe and they want to go to London and Paris. The responses to that post were really mixed. People that live in both of those cities commented and said it's no different than it always is. You've got to have your wits about you because there's pickpockets and all sorts in crowded places. We were in Paris in November and we took heed of that advice. There's lots of people, especially around the Eiffel Tower, that will try and push their wares on you as well. And you just got to have your wits about you in these places. But what they're saying, they live in either London or Paris because that's what it was about. And they said that it's no more dangerous than it has ever been. And people travel, millions of people travel to those destinations every single day. And the big cities, so you got to be aware of what the risks are when you visit big cities, but there's no more danger than there ever is. Others were in the comments saying don't visit, don't leave the States, don't go to Europe, it's like a war zone. She was traveling with 2 kids as well, and people are like, do not put your kids' safety at risk. I found it really interesting because these people that were very fearful and scared, they were scared because of second-hand fear. It's not their direct experience, and it's not their the evidence doesn't mount up from the people that live there that it's like a war zone. Now, way back when, I did my degree in psychology and criminology, and my dissertation was on this very subject. It was about fear and perceptions of crime, and I was comparing a inner city, which was Manchester, with a rural location, which was Buxton in Derbyshire. Now, people outside the city in the rural location found it terribly scary to think about what goes on in the city. But the people that were living in the city had very, very different view. They had a very different lens. They were living the experience of being in that city, and that fear wasn't as high as it was for those that lived out of the area. In my study, what I found was, and the stats that are around now, so more recent studies show that perceptions of crime are completely out of sync with the reality of crime that's going on. Now, I don't subscribe necessarily to relying on stats. Stats can be swayed and manipulated to suit a certain outcome if that's the outcome that you're looking for. What we've got these days, which is a good and a bad thing, we've got social media, we've got TikTok accounts, we've got people that are living and breathing in these lived experiences of living in an inner city and experiencing certain things within that city parameter. And when you actually look at what's going on, it's not as prevalent as you might think. Crime is not as prevalent as you might think. Now, stats show that crime has actually gone down. But when you look around you and you see certain things that are going on in the TV, I mean, what I would ask you to do is watch your local news tonight. We rarely watch the news in our house, but watch your local news tonight and just see how many stories are actually of a positive nature, or if they're all about crime in your area or surrounding. Media manipulates what we are fed, what we're told to believe and perceive about the world. And social media does the same thing. That fear that you've got of crime in a certain area, or the people that were commenting on the post that I saw, it's repetition. It comes from headlines. It comes from the algorithm boosting the most emotive videos, the most emotive posts that can be shared. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that there's not crime in London or Paris or any other city or anywhere else in the world. You've got to be aware, you've got to use your common sense. But there's a difference between awareness and being conditioned to feel unsafe. This is how people end up staying small. They don't take opportunities. They don't go to places. They don't trust their instincts. They don't trust their intuition. I want things to be different for you. Have a look at the news tonight. Like I said, have a listen to, I won't be, but have a listen to what the stories are. Have a look on your socials. Have a look on your algorithm. See what your algorithm is feeding you. I mean, even if you literally just go for a couple of seconds on a story that is in your local area that is a negative story, they start feeding you more of that. Just see what's happening and be aware of it. Knowledge is power. Awareness is freedom. And travel is living. Thanks for listening. I'll see you soon.